Hi there, Shannon Crow of MamaNurture here today, and I want to just share a quick pose with you. It's seated eye of the needle, or also sometimes we call this seated figure four or seated pigeon, and this is a great pose to try out if you have students who have issues going on with their knees, or if they can't be in pigeon pose, and don't even get me started on that. This is one that I prefer to go to, or a variation of this against the wall. So I'm going to try and show you, actually I'll just try and see if I can fit in all three variations of this pigeon, especially when people have stuff going on with their knees. Okay, so we'll start within the chair, and if you're at your office, you can definitely try this one out in your chair. So you're going to move to a chair and sit towards the front edge of it. Find both sits bones equally. Cross one ankle over onto opposite knee so that you're in this figure four shape. And you see if you can balance out and are both sits bones still really rooted and grounded. And to flex the toes so that you're flexing the toes back towards the knee, but also pushing at the same time with the foot. So that's variation number one. I see someone's popping in here live, and if you have questions or you just want to say a little hello, feel free to do that. So then the second variation of this eye of the needle is on your yoga mat. So you'll come all the way down to your mat, and you can get students to make lots of space. And if they have really tight hips, or if they're brand new to yoga, then you're going to start with lots of space. So we bring the hands back behind. They could be up on fingertips or onto flat hands. And we're going to cross over that foot, so it's the same pose. And they might start down really low like this first, and then you can slowly raise that knee up. And the great thing about this for prenatal yoga students is that they can also open through the heart and kind of lean back in this. So we again remember to point the toes back towards the knee and also push through the ball of the foot, like the ball of the foot is pushing away. So that's variation number two. And so then variation number three is going to be against the wall. I wasn't going to do this one today, but I just can't help it if we're going to do this. So we bring the legs to 90 degrees. So some prenatal yoga students aren't going to be able to lie down on their back, and obviously we do the first two variations with them. So we come down onto the floor, roll over onto the back, and move so that we start to feel that the sits bones are in line here, and that we're at this 90-degree turn here. Now, again, if this felt like it's just too much, if when you cue students into this, they start to want to pull their foot to bring it in, then you're going to get them to back up away from. But otherwise, if they can bring that ankle over onto the knee, and then we just slowly move into that figure four using the leg muscles, so not using the hands. If you start to see students wanting to push on that knee, please get them to do something else. They can bring their hands up overhead. The nice thing about this one is that they can bring those hands up overhead, which is one of the great benefits of pigeon pose, that you can kind of hang out and relax and chill there. So still, toes point back towards the knee. We think about both sits bones pushing towards the wall. We can hang out and stay there. So to come out, we slowly roll out. So those are three variations of kind of a seated pigeon, or seated figure four, or seated eye of the needle, or reclined. So it's all the same variation. And I do this in a lot of my classes, not just prenatal, but also in my gentle classes. So if you have any questions, post them in the comments. And if you'd like to meet up with Kim and I for a MamaNurture training, there's one coming up in April in Meaford, Ontario, and I'll put a link in the comments here. Thanks, you guys. Take care. Happy Monday.